Good afternoon, this is my house, and for once, it's bright. The curtains are opened. Plus, I can speak a bit louder since no one is sleeping upstairs at the moment. Anyways, I watched your response. Thank you very much. Stacy is holding her umbrella so she doesn't get wet in the rainstorm. Well, Lemonlog is closing his bedroom window so he doesn't get drenched in the thunderstorm. This morning I woke up at about 4 a.m. due to the cold front coming through. Man, that was a lot of lightning and rain. Definitely a lot of thunder too. Now your sentences are really good and quite convincing actually. The only things that give you away, if anything, are just small things, and honestly nothing to worry about, and if anything, easily remedied. Okay, what's really neat with you is, like, at the end of your sentences, you tend to, the pitch of your voice tends to go up, and that's actually quite common for around here as well. As you see, I just did it. Well, with a Canadian accent, you have to think about, I don't know, 70% Mid-American, 15% English, 5% French, 5% Irish, and perhaps the last 5% from everywhere else and unique to the region. The reason you can do a Canadian accent so well, whereas a lot of Americans can't, is because you have that 15% British, whereas a lot of them don't, and you just tend to mess up a lot of the vowels. No offense to any Americans watching this. Regarding your video, just a few differences between the Ontario Canadian accent and the Mid-American accent. Your boats are very good. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What am I talking about? Between you and me, one little trick you can use to find out if a person's American or not is the last letter of the alphabet. Yeah, now I'm sure you can guess this, but Z is for zebra, right? Well, they'd say Z. Now, if I hear a Z around here, I instantly know that either that person is American, or they've lived in the US, or they're trying to sound like an American person. Because Z is completely foreign around here. You also said in your alphabet, H is for hurricane, and what was the other one? U is for umbrella. Those are good. You said them really well, and keep at it. You're doing that very well. Your counting is good too, but don't be afraid to drop your T's for D's, or drop them completely. I know a lot of British hate that, but it's what we do around here. So that would be 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 31, 32, 41, 43, 76, 77. Ah, my camera! Also, you can say, instead of Toronto, which is the way it's spelled, capital of Ontario, it's Toronto. Toronto. I'm gonna go to Toronto and Montreal. Anyways, yeah, you could try the days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or, yeah, another thing you could try to do is, instead of them, you could say M. We like to run our words a lot together, so, did you know them well? I didn't know them well. There are at least 20 of them. There you have it. Now, what I find is a lot of Americans like to say ah instead of o, just the sound. So if I hear ah instead of an o, where in words I usually say with o, for example, I would say forest, whereas they would say forest. I would say poster, and they'd say poster. I'd say process, they'd say process. And I'd say centaur, they'd say centaur. Furthermore, I would say Gandhi, they'd say Gandhi. I'd say, yeah, Toronto, Trano, aunt. At the beginning of your video, you said, what's that, eh? There's just one little problem with that. Well, it's not a problem, it's just a little fix. When we say, what's that, eh, that means that, you're repeating, what someone just said, and you're going to add to it. Now let's see if I can give you a better example since I'm not explaining myself too well. Alright, so person one says, what's that? The second person would say, what's that, eh? Well, it's a five-legged goose. And there you have it. Try not to emphasize the a, and try to run it with the last word in the sentence you're using it with, as that will just sort of blend it together and it won't make it sound forced or foreign. Because a lot of people, of course, come to Canada and like to say a, but it sounds totally false. You know that they're doing it on purpose. Class, I have a surprise for you today. It's this. Whereas they would say, a rubber plant, eh? As opposed to a rubber plant, eh? Well, it's pretty standard and simple. I'm sure you could have guessed it, but don't force the A. The easiest way to use A as by the way or as don't you think. For example, here I have it written down. It's pretty cool, eh? It's pretty cool, don't you think? The trombone is a loud instrument, eh? You should get your dog groomed, eh? You should get your dog groomed. By the way, you should get your dog groomed. Or, there's bread in the fridge, eh? By the way, there's bread in the fridge, if you didn't know. And lastly, your Canadian accent's pretty good, eh?